The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. But what happens when it feels like you're lacking everything? What happens when your bank account shows zero? When your body betrays you with pain? When your heart feels empty after another loss? Or when your mind races with anxiety about tomorrow? Is this ancient promise still true when your reality screams otherwise? Just like many other believers, this question sometimes haunts me in quiet moments. Not because I doubt God's word, but because circumstances sometimes tell a completely different story. The images we see on TV, pain, sorrow, war, but also bills piling up, pain and loneliness. Being bullied at school, being the outsider at work, or having a boss who treats you badly, uncertainty about the future and health. But the verse says that I shall lack nothing, doesn't it? Sometimes uncertainty strikes, and we wrestle with the great contrast between Psalm 23 and reality. Perhaps the tension lies not in the truth of the verse, but in our understanding of what it means to lack nothing. When David penned these words, he wasn't sitting in a palace surrounded by luxury. He was a shepherd himself, intimately familiar with the wilderness, with danger, with the constant vigilance required to protect vulnerable sheep. He knew what it meant to face lions and bears, to sleep under stars, to go without comfort. Yet from this place of raw experience, he declared that his shepherd provided everything he needed. The Hebrew word for shepherd here is roeh, which means more than just someone who tends sheep. It speaks of intimate care, of knowing each sheep individually, of understanding their needs, their weaknesses, their tendencies to wander. A good shepherd doesn't just provide food and water. He provides protection, guidance, healing when there's injury, and rescue when there's danger. He knows which sheep needs extra attention, which one tends to lag, and which one is prone to anxiety. The relationship is personal, ongoing, and completely committed. When David says, I lack nothing, he's not claiming material abundance. He's declaring relational sufficiency. He's saying that with this shepherd, he has access to everything his soul truly needs. The provision isn't always what we expect or when we expect it, but it's always what we need for this moment, this step, this breath. Think about your own life right now. Yes, there might be genuine lacks. Your body might be failing, your relationships strained, your finances tight, your future uncertain. These are real struggles, and minimizing them would be cruel. But look closer. Amid these challenges, have there been moments of unexpected strength? Times when you found courage you didn't know you possessed? People who appeared just when you needed them most? Small provisions that arrived exactly when hope was fading. These aren't coincidences. They're the quiet work of a shepherd who sees your need before you even recognize it yourself. Sometimes his provision comes through healing, sometimes through endurance, sometimes through abundance, through the grace to find contentment with less, sometimes through removing obstacles, sometimes through the strength to walk through them. The beauty of this verse lies in its present tense. Not, I will lack nothing someday, or I used to lack nothing, but I lack nothing right now, in this moment, exactly as things are. This doesn't deny your struggles or suggest you should feel guilty for experiencing want. Instead, it invites you to look deeper, to see beyond the immediate circumstances to the underlying reality of divine care. Consider the sheep in a pasture. They don't understand the shepherd's long-term plans. They don't see the dangers he's already prevented or the paths he's carefully chosen. When he moves them to new grazing grounds, they might resist, preferring the familiar even if it's no longer nourishing them. When he leads them through difficult terrain, they can't see the green pastures waiting on the other side. Their perspective is limited to the immediate moment, but his encompasses their entire journey. Your shepherd sees what you cannot see. He knows about the closed door that protected you from the wrong opportunity, the delay that prevented you from danger, and the loss that made space for something better. He understands that sometimes what feels like a lack is preparation, that sometimes what looks like emptiness is being cleared for new abundance, that sometimes what seems like silence is the deep rest your soul desperately needs. This doesn't make your struggles less real or your pain less valid. The shepherd doesn't promise an easy path, but he promises his presence on every step of the journey. He doesn't guarantee a life without valleys, but he assures you that you won't walk through them alone. He doesn't eliminate every storm, but he provides shelter and strength to weather each one. When anxiety whispers that you don't have enough, remember that your shepherd has never lost a sheep entrusted to his care. When fear suggests that you're forgotten, recall that he knows your name and calls you his own. When loneliness convinces you that you're walking this path alone, listen for his voice guiding you forward. When weariness makes you want to give up, feel his strength carrying you when your own fails. The phrase, "I lack nothing," becomes not a denial of current struggles, but a declaration of ultimate security. It's saying that underneath all the uncertainty, there's an unshakable foundation. Beneath all the temporary lacks, there's an eternal abundance. Beyond all the immediate needs, there's a shepherd who has already provided the most essential thing your soul requires: his presence and love. This perspective transforms how we face each day. Instead of starting with an inventory of what's missing, we can begin with gratitude for what's been provided. Instead of focusing solely on what we're asking for, we can notice what we're already receiving. Instead of measuring our security by our circumstances, we can ground our peace in our shepherd's character. Some days, his provision will feel obvious and abundant. Other days, it will be subtle and require eyes of faith to recognize. Both are expressions of his care, tailored to exactly what you need for your unique journey. The shepherd who leads you knows whether you need abundance or simplicity, community or solitude, comfort or challenge. His provision is always personal, always purposeful, always perfect for this moment in your story. As you reflect on these words from Psalm 23, let them settle deep into your heart. Not as a burden to believe something that feels untrue, but as an invitation to see your life through your shepherd's eyes. Let them remind you that your worth isn't determined by what you have or lack, but by who you are. Let them anchor you in the truth that his love for you doesn't fluctuate with your circumstances, and his commitment to your well-being doesn't waver when life gets difficult. The Lord is your shepherd. He knows your name, your struggles, your fears, and your hopes. He sees your tears and counts them precious. He understands your questions and doesn't condemn them. He feels your pain and walks with you through it. He celebrates your joys and multiplies them with his presence. He guards your sleep and strengthens you for each new day. Right now, in this very moment, as you hear these words, you lack nothing that your soul truly needs. His grace is sufficient for today. His love is constant through every season. His presence is your portion, your peace, your provision. Rest in this truth, not as wishful thinking, but as the solid foundation upon which you can build each day of your life. The Lord is your shepherd. You are his beloved sheep, and in him you lack nothing. I want to invite you to answer the following questions. How do you see Psalm 23? And in what way do you look at what you have and are grateful for, instead of looking at the shortcomings or failures? How do you keep courage in challenging times? That's what others would also like to know. Help them by sharing your story in the comments. Also, subscribe directly to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Thank you for watching and for your contribution to the world.